Hello and welcome to this France 24 Sports African Cup of Nations special. I'm Jean-Emile Jammine and I'll be joined by Eurosport's Ruben Slagter to go over all the action and the tournament in the Ivory Coast. Well, it's well and truly kicked off in style. Some absolute shocks in match day one. It all began with Saturday night's 2-0 win for the hosts, Ivory Coast, over Guinea-Bissau. That was before Sunday served a triple spectacle. In Group A's other match, Nigeria couldn't get the better of Equatorial Guinea. That ended 1-1. Egypt were nearly stunned by Mozambique as the game ended 2-2. And in the late match on a Sunday, Cape Verde absolutely shocked Ghana 2-1 in the biggest surprise of the tournament so far. Jamiro Montero opening the scoring for the Blue Sharks. And while Alexander Djiku managed an equalizer for the Black Stars, Gary Rodriguez stole a goal in the 92nd minute to sink Ghanaian hearts. Ruben, I want to come and start straight away with you. Cape Verde, what a result for them.
Yeah, you say that they stole it, but to be fair, they fully deserved the victory. I mean, they were very, very impressive. We can also say something about Ghana, but I think that there's somebody else who wants to say something about Ghana, so let me say something about Cape Verde. Tactically sound, technically decent, and also just the real power. They were also physically really, really good. So yeah, deserved victory, and also it was in the last minute, but yeah, they rightly deserve to win this game.
You really get the feeling that under Bubista, he's been at the helm quite a while now for the Blue Sharks, and he's kind of brought this identity. You know exactly how you're going to play with Cape Verde.
There's a clear identity, and for me, that was also what was lacking with the Ghanaian team. So that was the big difference between the two teams. And yeah, it will be interesting to see what Cape Verde can do, because this was truly an impressive performance. Now they will play Mozambique and also Egypt. And well, with already one win, there's a huge chance of getting through. And why not cause some other upsets?
We want to go to our correspondent Justice Baidoo in a second when he is available, because I'm sure he is soaking up what's gone on there for the Ghanaian fans. But I'm just going to stick to you for a minute, because the injury to Mohamed Kudus, that was Ghana's big star coming into this tournament. Surely what we saw on the pitch there was a real sign of the Black Stars missing their main man.
Yeah, they were missing their main man, and you can also see now for quite a while with Ghana that it's the same team for so many years now. They need new blood, and Kudus is the whole captain of this whole new generation in Ghana. He wasn't there, so yeah, that was a huge blow. Would they have done better with him? I don't know, because there are many other issues, I think, with the Ghanaian team.
It's an absolutely stunning result, and we will come back to that, of course. The second match also nearly saw one of the biggest shocks of the tournament, as Egyptian captain Mohamed Salah scored a last-minute penalty to deny Mozambique. Mustafa Mohamed opened the scoring after just 2 minutes, but in the second half, Witi and Klesio Bauke scored 2 goals in 3 minutes for the Mambas. That's until Salah stepped up on the 97th minute to save the Pharaohs' blushes. Ruben, it could have been so different for Mozambique and for Egypt. But again, we can say Mozambique were thoroughly deserving of being in the lead up until that 97th minute.
Well, I think that the draw in the end is a fair result. If you look at the whole game, I think what I liked most was that because the early Egypt goal, we got an open game. And Mozambique, they went there out there to score to win it. And only for that already they deserve a lot of praise, because they're playing against Egypt. I mean, the kings of African football. So yeah, there was no fear whatsoever. So that was fantastic. We can also say that Egypt with a bit more luck, because they had a lot of chances already before the goals from Mozambique. So it could have also been 3-0 at halftime, and then we are not talking about anything anymore. But in the end, yeah, there's a penalty last minute. I think it was a penalty. So a 2-2 result is a fair result, and I think that in Mozambique they will be sad, but at the same time really, really proud, because they played with their hearts, and they will now think a next game against Cape Verde. That will be a really interesting match, but also Ghana against Egypt, of course.
Absolutely, and we see that quote there from Chiquinho, the Mozambique coach. He says, "We are sad that is a good thing. I mean, they can really hold their heads up high.
It's incredible, right? I mean, if you're they are like 116th in the world, and then you say we're sad after a draw against Egypt. It shows also the beauty of this tournament, right? That's why we love the Africa Cup of Nations, because of these results, because of these surprises. It's such an entertaining tournament.
Such surprises. We're going to come back to this match. I want to swing back though to the Ghana game, because we're joined now by Justice Baidoo, our correspondent from Ghana, who is in the Ivory Coast. Justice, I don't even know what to say. I mean, where do you go from here as a Black Stars fan?
Nobody knows. A lot of the Ghanaian fans, most of them will be driven all the way from Ghana right across the border to come in here, have just been trooping out of the stadium, and nobody is uttering a word. Everybody is really broken, because really this was the game that everybody thought that Ghana could start off winning, because we are in the same group as Egypt and Mozambique, who everybody thought may be a less fancied side. But looking at the game that they put up against Egypt, people are now revising their notes about the performance of Mozambique. It makes it really tricky how Ghana could come out of this group, because Egypt, obviously a major superpower in this tournament, won it 7 times, been to the finals several occasions, with such a hunger to want to win every time they are here. It's really, really tough, because now Cape Verde jumps right on top of this group with 3 points. Ghana has no point and would be the last in this very, very challenging group. So yes, it's a really, really tough time for the Ghanaian fans who have come here to watch this game today.
And of course, Justice, I mean, Ghana now, they've only won 1 of their last 10 AFCON matches. I mean, we remember that team with Michael Essien and going on from there. You remember Suli Muntari. This is a far cry from that side under Chris Hughton. What kind of future do you see under this manager?
Yes, we all look back. We all look back at the what is now being described as the golden age of the Black Stars. John Mensah, Michael Essien, Asamoah Gyan, Stephen Appiah. Those were the days when Ghana were going out to play. Everybody was really, really confident. Even if they were not going to win the trophy, we would take on really, really great teams and put up a good show and come out with our heads up high. It's really, really not like that anymore. And Chris Hughton, he's really, really not done much in terms of putting his identity as a coach on this team. There's really not much to say that this is the differences that he's been able to make in terms of player quality, the quality of selection that he makes, in terms of his impact in the game, and then everything. But he's also had very, very little time, and that's part of the things that people have said, that the thing with the Black Stars team is that it hasn't had a manager who has had time enough to be able to gel with the team, build the players up, and then be able to find that rhythm, that winning rhythm that could really get into some of these tournaments and then be able to win a game. So that really is the challenge. It remains to be seen what will happen in the remaining 2 games that Ghana has. But then also you need to remember that Ghana traditionally has been slow starters in tournaments. In many of the tournaments that we've been to, especially in this AFCON, Ghana largely starts on a slow note. We are usually coming off with a draw or sometimes losing in our opening games and have gone on to come out of the group stages. But like I said, the Black Stars have changed so much.
We'll see.
Many
what they
people
can do
do not
course,
have such
Justice.
expectations anymore.
We'll see. Sorry to cut you there, because we have to jump straight away to another team who started quite slow, Nigeria, with that 1-1 with Equatorial Guinea. Iban Salvador opening the scoring, Victor Osimhen responding in kind for the Super Eagles, but not enough, Ruben. Are they going to be too reliant on Victor Osimhen?
That's the fear, yeah, that's for sure. I think that Victor Osimhen, just to remind, is the African footballer of 2023 and fully deserved because he had an incredible season at Napoli. I personally think that he is the most complete number 9 on the planet. So I'm a huge fan of Victor Osimhen. The only thing that is a little bit lacking for him for now quite some time is his scoring ability. I mean, it's not that he's not scoring, but he's not as clinical as an Erling Haaland, for example. Today we saw the same thing. He scored a goal. He was there. He's still an incredible player, but if he has to do it all on his own, there are some strong other attacking players. But like with what we heard about Ghana, I'm still looking for the Nigerian identity in the team. You can see that, especially in defense, it's shaky to say the least. Equatorial Guinea is a really difficult opponent to play because we've seen it now for several AFCONs that it's always the same. They're frustrating their opponents. It's not fun to watch. Let's be honest. But yeah, they play to their strengths and rightly so. So yeah, it's not a disaster 1-1, but we now have a Nigeria against Ivory Coast the next round, the next day, and that can be a really tasty affair.
And that's, of course, after Côte d'Ivoire opened with that 2-0 victory, a victory which was really 40 years in the making, a real moment of pride on the streets of Abidjan, as Vedika Bahal reports.
Singing, dancing and decked out in their signature orange, it was a euphoric stadium exit for Ivory Coast supporters. A roaring start for the hosts of this year's African Cup of Nations, the Elephants kicking off their campaign with a powerful 2-0 win against the Wild Dogs of Guinea-Bissau.
We're still backing the Elephants to go even further. One thing's for sure, we're in it together. Ivory Coast is still Ivory Coast, always strong.
For the Wild Dogs, it's a disappointing result. Their hopes are still high of a strong response.
We are proud of our country. We know that today was a very tough match for us, but we never got discouraged.
The game saw a stunning opening goal by Seko Fofana just 4 minutes into the match. And the result was sealed when Jean-Philippe Crasso slotted past the goalkeeper. Despite the dominant win, the Elephants are keeping their feet on the ground.
Guinea-Bissau is a good team, and they gave it their all. It turned out well because our aim was to take the 3 points, and we got the 3 points, so that's good.
Next up for Ivory Coast, a crunch clash against 3-time AFCON champions Nigeria on Thursday, a mouth-watering prospect for Group A.
I want to head back to Justice Baidoo in the Ivory Coast. Of course, Justice, you saw all the fans last night, and now they're going to be coming up against the Nigeria side up next, where they have to, again, rise further to the occasion. What's the sense like on the streets of Abidjan? Can they do it?
I mean, for many people, this Ivory Coast team is capable of going all the way and even winning this tournament. But of course, you can't underestimate Nigeria as well. So I've been speaking with people and they are very optimistic, but then they are also very cautious, especially because with Nigeria having such a slow start, drawing in this opening game, knowing that their next game is definitely a must win if they want to come out of this group. They are going to come all out and want to have a win in that game. So people are really careful and slow in optimism. But, it's going to be a cracker and I can't wait for that match.
And of course, Ruben, this sets up Guinea-Bissau, or rather Equatorial Guinea, up against Guinea-Bissau. So, those two teams now can look at it and say, if we win our next match, then it's really set up perfectly for us.
Yeah, I think during this tournament we'll discuss the 24 team setup a few times, but yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, winning already one game could be enough to go through. So yeah, it's also that game will be crucial. I just hope that Nigeria and Ivory Coast, they will also really want to test each other during the game, because then it will be a really interesting clash. If they maybe are going to calculate a little bit and they will say, okay, with a draw, it should be enough, etc. Yeah, okay, we'll see. I never forget that Senegal, the last time in Cameroon, they just made 2-0-0 draws and won a 1-0 game in the group stage and then went on to win it. And they started the tournament, to be fair, in the second round. So I just hope that those two teams really want to show us something. And then, yeah, we will have a cracker of a game, especially with Osimhen, but also that midfield from Ivory Coast. I mean, it's such a pleasure to watch players like Sangaré, like Seko Fofana, Kessié. It's, yeah.
Kessié, another Napoli stalwart who's no doubt one of the favourite players for you to watch. Well, that's it, of course, for the match day one on Saturday and Sunday. Let's not forget, though, what's coming up on Monday. Reigning champions Senegal finally get their campaign underway. That's against Gambia, while Rigobert Song's Cameroon face high-flying Guinea. And the late game sees 2019 winners Algeria hoping to start with a win as they face the Sables of Angola. A quick word then there, Ruben, on firstly, well, just the chances of the big teams. Do we expect them to live up to the billing?
Well, yeah, Senegal, I already said it just before. I'm curious. Senegal-Gambia is a special game because it's one of the most special derbies there is. So I think they will go all out, and yeah, also with Gambia, with all the strange preparations they've had for this tournament, with the airplane not without oxygen, etc. So yeah, it will be a strange game. And then yeah, I'm really, really interested by what Algeria will show to us because I really don't know what to expect. We thought that they would win in Cameroon and then they were rubbish. Then we thought they would go to the World Cup and then they lost to Cameroon. Now they're coming back here without too many expectations.
At least they don't have to face Cameroon this time again. So
you never know at some point. But yeah, I'm really curious because the quality is still there. And if Algeria, if at some point the confidence is back, yeah, they can also be really a force to reckon with. And what we've seen today, there will be surprises again.
Oh, we do really hope for surprises. Of course, that's what makes the African Cup of Nations such a great tournament. Once again, thank you to Ruben Slagter. Thank you to Justice Baidoo, who was joining us from the Ivory Coast. And thank you for watching this special African Cup of Nations show here on France 24. That's all from me. It's bye for now.